Hi everyone, this video is to show you how to create your own custom learning objectives, and then how to share those learning objectives if you want to do that, and then how to actually apply them in your course and what it would look like. And so the first thing we're going to focus on is actually how to create your own custom learning objectives, and the only place this can be done is in your resources tab. And so you would click the resources tab, and you'll notice that your personal home resources already has this learning objectives sort of option here. This is where you would create your own set of learning objectives for your own personal usage. The really nice thing is that you can add a folder, the custom learning objective just by itself, or state standards, Common Core, and others to select from. But if you're making your own, I do recommend having them in a folder. It just makes it a little bit cleaner. The nice thing is that once you've created in your personal, you can actually make a copy and share it with any of your other group resources as well. So that is an option for you. It doesn't really matter where you make it, which is kind of nice. If you wanted to build learning objectives in a group because you know that your entire PLC is going to be using these, you would have to go into your group under resources, and under options you would enable learning objectives. It's going to ask you if you're sure that you want to do that. And then once you do, this learning objectives little option will sit at the top, and this is where you can collectively build learning objectives together and share these, and then have access to them. So that is something that you can do as well. For the personal, it's all relatively straightforward. All you have to do is click Add, and then Add Custom Learning Objective. You're going to title it whatever you want. Something shorter might be a little bit easier to read and remember for yourself, and then the longer description can explain exactly what that learning objective means. Both of these are required. Once those are done, the learning objectives are going to live in your resources always, and so that's just always where they're going to be. You can't really move them. You don't add them to any courses or anything. They just exist in your resources. To actually use learning objectives, what you're going to do is go into your course, and then you're going to add a material assignment. And so I'll just title it, and then I'll make it out of 10 points for consistency. I'll set the due date so it's easier for me to find. And then this is where the learning objectives come into play. And so there's learning objectives. You click the Align button, and then you would open the Custom Learning, Personal, and you just find it in your resources wherever it is. And so you're going to add the two. You can have as many objectives as you want attached to that particular assignment. This is how Schoology keeps track. You can have as many different goals as you want in a single assignment. So you're going to say add those. You can still change the scale, and so you can pair this learning objectives with any scale that you are currently using, any custom scale that you have. So if you're doing a pointless scale, letter only, anything like that, that's totally available. And so any scale that you want is available to you. I am going to go ahead and select the custom A scale letter only. I don't even need submissions. I can just see this directly in my gradebook. So you'll notice that once it's published, that these three different assignments have the same two learning objectives attached to them. You're going to see the learning objectives listed here. What you can do is you can go into the gradebook, and you would grade those assignments just as you would any other assignment. So once students submit, you can see them, maybe you've got a hard copy, and then you can use the scale that kind of pops out and give them the grade that they've received. All of these are their potential options. Those grades go in the gradebook. That's perfectly fine. If you want to see how they're doing towards the mastery of those particular learning objectives, you would go into the mastery portion of your course. And here you can see that the actual learning objective is listed at the top here. And then each one has that. I have set it to numeric so that I can see the percentage of kind of achievement of those goals. And so that's easy for me, but it's completely up to you. And so this is what it's going to look like. You would go under Mastery Settings to kind of set what it means to meet expectations. And so you're saying that in the gradebook, if it meets expectations, they need to have a 75% minimum score to meet expectations. To exceed expectations, then they would need a 90% minimum. Mastery exceed expectations at least 1. And so the number of times a student must demonstrate understanding of a concept by scoring at least it meets expectation minimum on assignments, quizzes, or discussions. And so that's going to indicate whether or not they've actually met or exceeded the expectations. You can set that number to whatever you think is appropriate. If you feel like they need to demonstrate it 3 times out of the 10 at-bats you're going to give them that semester, then you would set that score to 3. Weight the most recent observation, and so it does place more emphasis on further, like later submissions, just because it seems like the more at-bats they have, the more likely it is that they indicate, you know, they're going to grow that skill. You can change that number to whatever percentage you'd like. And then the mastery scale is what indicates what you're going to see here in the mastery portion. So if you want, you can have a letter grade only. And you'll notice that my percentages go away. Sorry, it didn't save. Okay, there we go. So now it's saved, and you can actually see the letter grade. If you hover in this corner, it tells you how many at-bats they've had. Each time it tells you the assignment that they've done it on and what score they got for each assignment, so you can kind of see their progress and you can kind of make a judgment call if you choose. You can use this information to then adjust the grades in the actual gradebook itself. This portion of the gradebook, this does not map to the gradebook in the sense that it doesn't go backwards, right? And so it's not going to overwrite any scores. It's reading the information from the actual gradebook into the mastery portion. And so that's how this works. That's kind of like the basics of learning objectives. Hopefully this is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, and yeah.